We are live. And
Double take, double take. It's another double take.
double take.
I feel like we need the church music or whatever, the like choir music that we have for after the credits, but for double take, you're like double take. Oh. Anyway,
Yeah, I'll
it's
make
double take
a
time.
choir choral arrangement.
Yeah, and today we're talking about the Steven Spielberg produced, Matthew Robbins directed film.
Yeah.
Asterisk batteries not included.
Asterisk and all lowercase.
Yes, and all lowercase. Batteries not included. Which I do have to say before we even get started, I loved. In movies I forget who. There's like a cartoon or something that make fun of it all the time. The titular line. I love waiting for the titular line in movies, and this one actually has a pretty good one. The janitor that only quotes TV shows and commercials or whatever. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, because I was actually kind of that. It didn't take me out of it or anything, but it was just like, hey, you said the line, but at the same time, it was also like, oh,
I think it's The Simpsons. I think The Simpsons it's like they're making fun of the titular lines in movies or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so batteries not included. Released in 1987, like we talked about in After the Credits, the same year as Innerspace. Seems to be based off of a similar concept, which was Steven Spielberg produced a TV show called Amazing Stories, which had a revival in the early 2000s, I think, mid 2000s. There was another Amazing Stories on Apple TV, kind of came and went. I never heard much about it. I never saw it. But like Innerspace, batteries not included, seems to be a story that was originally supposed to be part of that anthology type series that was chosen by Spielberg to become a movie. And spoiler alert for my review of it, that's kind of exactly what it seems like. It seems like a movie that doesn't really have enough meat. The story isn't exactly well-rounded, and instead of filling out what would have been initially like a 20 to 30 minute TV show episode, it was just stretched, and maybe not as effectively as it could have been, but really stretched out to kind of fill an hour and 47 minutes, no less.
Yeah, I mean, even then, I was like, why wasn't this like a tight, like 85 minutes? You know, like if they were going to make it a, full length feature, like why not just get it as tight as you can, considering the source material? So. Yeah.
Well, and I always, this is just something that I've started to notice, but like, when the credits come up and you see that the screenplay has like 3 or 4 people that like wrote it or whatever, that to me is, a sign of rewrites, or, the initial story was written and they were like, oh, this is good, but we need to stretch it out or whatever. So they give it to a writer and he stretches it out a little bit. And then that gets tossed to the next writer and he stretches it out a little bit, and so on. And the movie kind of feels that way for the entire runtime, I think. When it initially started. Well, first off, let's go into your general thoughts, rating out of 110, 4 Ninja Turtles, however, whatever system you want to use.
Right.
What's your general rating for batteries not included?
Goodness. I would probably, just right off the bat, I'd probably give it like a 5 out of 10.
Okay.
Because it had some moments. Because that's the thing. Like, yes, it may not have hit all the beats and may not have captivated me for an hour and 47 minutes. I mean, I can only imagine that runtime also includes the end credits. So maybe more like 140, 142. But even then, there were definitely some lingering shots that could have been tightened, and some scenes that were like, all right, let's get this, let's continue. Like even the lead up and story building was way too long. Like
Okay.
just the introduction to these little flying cool little robots, and I I, I can only imagine they're alien, because that's the thing. Like
Are they?
there is no origin story. You do not know where they came from, and you do not know where they went after this story is over.
Yeah, it's
There
like
is
really like
no
a snapshot in
explanation.
time of just this happened and then
Yeah.
that's it.
I mean, I get it how like a lot of times you don't really want to focus on that too much. You want to focus on the humanity of the story and how the introduction of these little robot creatures affected these people in this building. You know,
Sorry,
I get
pause
it.
for 1 second. When
Yeah.
you say the lead up to the little aliens was too long, are you talking about all the pre stuff that didn't have anything to do with them, or are you saying like that scene where the aliens kind of come in through the window and then through all that was
No,
too long?
no, just the world building of like, here is a building that is going to be demolished, and
Okay,
here is the landlord, and here are the
here's
people
evil
who
developer
live.
man. Okay, okay,
Yes,
I
like
agree
that.
with that.
Yeah, that whole lead up was like,
Yeah, that's what I'm
okay,
saying. It felt
we
very
get it.
stretched. Like,
Yes.
and they the part about that like really bothers me is that it was really stretched out. They introduce all these characters, and then ultimately, like number one, I feel like a lot of those characters were completely unnecessary. They do nothing.
Yes.
Like I really hate. We talked a little bit about like Meg Ryan in Innerspace is so underutilized, and like as a woman, like her
Yeah.
whole character is just to be a woman, and this felt like the Puerto Rican woman that was pregnant. Her whole like purpose to be in the story is what, to be poor. like
Yeah. Yeah.
why is she even in the and I mean even the other guy, the other tenant, the
Mhm.
painter guy, the artist, like they
Right.
tried to introduce or like maybe force a relationship between them, but like what was the purpose for either of those characters?
Yeah. Other than just another lens to see this stuff happen through, and yeah, like the whole relationship between the two seemed kind of forced. Like it lets, again, she's a woman, and that's really the only reason she's there, is to be a possible relationship for the other guy.
Yeah, but then what? Like, what's his purpose except to be a possible relationship for her? Like, I didn't even
Yeah.
understand again, as far as characters, like what purpose they serve for the story. Because every single time where you get, like you're saying, a reaction where we're seeing it from a different lens, like from their perspective, there's
Mhm.
always somebody else in that shot. There's always somebody else
Yeah.
reacting with it as well, and it feels very much like they tried to set this up as like a kind of ramshackle, chosen family unit,
Mhm.
which, but it's not really like a family unit. They're kind of phrased that way because they live in this same building that,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that they're like the middle class fighters, like
Right.
let's take on the big bad guy or whatever, but then they individually have no personalities whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like one collective of like, just, I mean, I get it. I get how that could be interesting, to see what happens to a whole building full of people who are about to get kicked out, and these little aliens kind of change things.
Well, yeah, any
Um,
any movie where like a disparate group of people gets together for like a common goal,
yeah.
it's Lord of the Rings is a bunch of different creature species, races, whatever, getting together and like accomplishing a goal together. And like
Mhm.
that would have been cool. But then like the most you find out is that this guy is an artist kind of whose girlfriend left him, and the Puerto Rican woman has like stays home alone, just pining and waiting for her musician boyfriend who's like touring
Right.
the country. Like I guess I would have liked it if each one of them would have gotten something from the
Yeah.
little aliens and having that experience. But the closest thing that they really get is, one, their home is saved in a very Fern Gully kind of way,
Right.
Avatar and all that.
Yeah.
But then he kind of, like the guy kind of has a moment of like I don't know, where, you know, initially he's like very trying to be very scientific or about it, or very like critical about it. Like, we need to contact the government. Like, this is crazy. This is a once in a
Mhm.
life. And then he just kind of softens up to it. But I didn't like that he just like forgets about all that other stuff. He
Yeah.
forgets about the fact that he was freaking out and wants to know what's going on. And he's just like, oh, I guess I'll never know. Oh, well.
Mhm.
And the
Just
movie
kind
just
of put
continues.
under a spell because of the how cute these creatures
Yes,
are. It's like,
exactly.
really? I mean,
They had babies. I can relate to that, despite the fact that I don't have any children of my own. And it's like,
which, by the way, I completely forgot that that was even a thing.
that
Was
they had
that
babies.
they reproduced like that? I just thought those little ones just kind of eventually became part of the story somehow, but I didn't realize it was because they literally had babies,
Yeah, there
which
was like a
is
mating
just
scene. There was like a whole,
yeah,
and actually that was one of my favorite scenes in the movie, only because like you could tell what was happening. Like, in again, the characters are kind of just like, what's going on, and the
mhm,
woman with dementia is the one that's like, duh, you
yeah,
know, like,
yeah,
what do you
exactly,
think they're doing?
yeah,
And it's like, it's just very obvious from the context, I think. That was the other thing. When the movie first started, the dementia thing, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool that it's like, especially back in the 80s, highlighting like something that there are
yeah.
people that are going through, you know, it's a tough situation, it's sad. You're kind of seeing that. What was the purpose of her having dementia?
I know, because that was exactly my like the stages of going through this movie of, you know, yeah, like having the dementia aspect. I was like, oh, okay, well, it really tugs on the heartstrings, and like, eventually she's probably gonna do something that's gonna be even more heartwarming, and you really feel for her because she's struggling, and the husband is struggling too because he's dealing with a wife with dementia. And yeah, it just did not have a payoff that I was satisfied with. I was like, why? Yeah, why bring that up? Why have that when yeah, there it just seemed like it was just an obstacle, or like yeah, it really didn't need to be there to really do it.
Yeah, well, and the thing too is like I like the fact, you know, like one of my favorite things is when a movie has a character that has something that's just like a real life thing, and they don't have to make
Yeah.
a big deal out of it, which I guess this movie didn't have to make a big deal out of it, and kind of didn't. But it seems like when the movie starts off, like that's going to be like a central part of the story, is the fact that she has
Right.
dementia, and she can't remember, you know, what's going on, and the fact that her son has passed or whatever. But then you like kind of find out about it through the course of the movie, and it just, the landing on that is completely empty. Like,
Mhm.
you don't really find out anything about the son except for the fact that she doesn't really remember that he died, and she
Yeah.
thinks that this thug guy or whatever is her son from looks or whatever. Sorry, that's my dog's. You can see his little tail down there. Right there. Anyway, so I normally like when, you know, I don't like when movies put, you know, for example, the autistic person, and like Predators, there was an autistic kid and autism is his superpower. He figures everything out because
Oh,
he has autism. That's like, no, I don't like that. But put in people from all different walks of life, people that have all kinds of different, you know, living situations, or things that they have to deal with in their life. That I'm totally fine with.
yeah.
Um, it's just that like this movie, for whatever reason, plays that up a little bit to no end, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like,
Yeah,
it
it
becomes a
was
very big deal at the beginning, and then at the end, it's not a very big deal, because guess what? She's not crazy or losing her mind. The aliens are real and whatever. But at the end, they don't fix her or anything. You know, she doesn't get any better. So it's like, and even that last shot of the apartment building amongst the like monstrosity, that
yeah.
100% did not give me like the feel. I actually thought that the movie up until like the middle point was a pretty feel good movie. Like, it was cute, it was cool, there was like some nice moments or whatever, and then the ending is just kind of like very anticlimactic to me. Like, sure, they won, I guess. They fought the yes, like the girl from Signs. That's another good example of that.
Right.
But they fought the big bad building developer man, and to what end? So that their entire view and everything that was charming about the place that they lived is no longer there. They're literally surrounded by skyscrapers. They can't see anything except for out the front door. Like,
yeah. When just the look of it, just when you're seeing the world building happen and you're seeing buildings torn down with but like huge buildings on either side or whatever, it honestly reminded me of Up from Pixar.
Yes.
Like it made me wonder, like, I wonder if, Pete Docter and whoever else wrote Up, if they kind of got inspired just a little bit by Battery
Oh,
Star Included.
I'm sure. Again, it feels like a very like family friendly, feel good kind of movie. So the fact that that the story kind of has that beat, I wouldn't doubt. Sorry, Ozzy's barking at landscapers outside.
Shush you. Yeah, but just like even like I say, even the look of the set itself really reminded me of Up. So it was kind of interesting to see that.
Guest appearance from Ozzy.
Hi, Ozzy.
Hey, buddy.
What are you going to say? Ozzy, speak.
Anyway, yeah, I would say I don't think I'm too far off from where you were rating wise. I would have given it like a 58%. And that's disappointing to me because there was a ton about the movie that I liked so much. It just didn't deliver on any of the promises that it started to make at the beginning of the movie. And like I said, I wonder what it would look like or sound like or feel like as an anthology from a TV show where, it's a little bit more concise, because I think I would have liked it a lot better had it been a little bit more concise. Like I can definitely see this being a movie that is in need of being redone or remade. With like a proper story that fills it out. I don't need to know about the Fix-Its and like what their backstory is and what planet they're from and all that stuff. That's not what's missing from the movie. I want to know more.
That's totally what's
missing.
That's the prequel. They're going to come out with a prequel, and then they're going to come out with a remake.
Batteries not included cinematic universe. No, I want to know more about the characters themselves and like how their lives were changed by the literal meeting of an alien species. Right. Like what would normally be like a life-changing event for most people is kind of played off as like well, that was a nice thing that happened to us. Even when they first see them, the reactions that they got from them, like, again, it's not Dennis Miller, but the guy reminds me so much of Dennis Miller. Is it Dennis Miller?
Oh, no. Yeah, the guy with the beard and
or Dennis like Leary. I don't remember. One of the Dennises. Oh wow, and his name is Dennis Boutsikaris. Okay, well, Dennis, not the Dennises I was thinking of, but Dennis, his character had a very like timid version of that reaction early on when they first see the aliens. When he goes in again, it seems totally logical to go into the chicken coop thing or the pigeon coop or whatever and try to investigate what's going on and all that. But then when he kind of gets like thrown out of there, it's like after that, it's like, oh, okay, nothing more to worry about. Right. He tries to contact the police. He tries to contact like that. All seemed completely in line, seemed good. But then it's never a story for him about like having faith in things or whatever. Which I don't even know if I care about that story. But like, sometimes you just have to. I don't know. I don't even know what lesson he could have learned from it based on the way that the movie kind of played out. But
yeah, like because what bothered me is that, I mean, again, it's just execution, and again trying to pad a story that didn't need padding, because all the elements separately are interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, having a story revolving around the people in this building who are about to be evicted. You know, that's always dramatic. That's never a happy time in anyone's life. So, yeah, there is definitely some conflict there that is, uh, you know, that a lot of people can probably relate to at some point in their life. And having some little alien creatures and spaceships come and fix things. I kind of like that element where
Mm-hmm.
they're able to repair things just because of, you know, they're this intelligent alien species or whatever. That's cool too. But yeah, then everything, yeah, it just did not come together in the end.
Yeah, no, well, like when you're describing it like that, the first thing that comes to my mind is like they could have replaced the little aliens with magic or a wizard or literally
Yeah.
any like supernatural, God could have come down or whatever. Literally anything could have happened to like move that plot forward and make that thing happen. And that's what seems to me to be the main issue, is that the aliens are so central to the movie, and that yet there's nothing specifically in the movie that really happens because of them. Even that like having kids and rescuing the kids, the little baby robots or
Yeah.
aliens or whatever, like even that, I don't know. I didn't get the sense that they were in any kind of danger or there was a reason for them to need to look for
Right.
them, kind of sort of a thing. It's very odd. It's very odd. And even like, the janitor guy, the former boxer or whatever, like what's
Right.
his backstory? Why doesn't he talk?
Yeah.
I don't need to know. I don't need an hour-long exposition on that, but I would like to know a
Sure.
little bit about that. And why are these little alien dudes the reason why he's talking? What about them compelled him so much? Yeah, their reason is so we can have this conversation. Nice, Bro Cinco. Bro Cinco, did you like Batteries Not Included? Are you a fan of the movie?
Because it seems like it's almost as if this movie was made just in anticipation of people having podcasts so they can talk about it.
Not only so they could have podcasts, but so they could have podcasts over 30 years after
right.
the movie was released.
Steven Spielberg was so ahead of his time.
Genius. I actually do wonder though what I realize it's produced by Steven Spielberg, but I wonder what a movie like this that had more involvement from him would have been like, if he had directed it or if he had been more in the weeds with it. Actually, that's funny. Duppy, our buddy Duppy, one of our fans, has mentioned Empire of the Sun. So I was looking up on Rotten Tomatoes after I'd watched this, because unfortunately that's like my biggest takeaway from this movie is the surprising fact that there's very little behind the scenes and production information that I could find about this movie. I was really curious. I would love to see like a featurette from ILM or something on how, I mean, I know it's stop motion and a combination of things like that, but I really liked the way that they filmed a lot of the scenes with the little spaceships.
I liked the POV shots that they had.
Yes. The POV shots were awesome. And well, sorry, I meant fan of us, not necessarily of Batteries Not Included. But when I was looking on Rotten Tomatoes, I was trying to read old reviews, because most of the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes are even from when the movie was initially released, or at least when it came out on DVD for its very first DVD release. And the really funny thing is most of the Rotten Tomatoes reviews link to I forget the name of the website is, but it's like an archive of old newspaper articles. And the reviews were actual like newspaper articles, but most of them were incorrectly linking to reviews of Empire of the Sun for some reason. So I didn't actually get to read any of these articles about Batteries Not Included, because anytime I clicked on the read the whole review link, it would jump to a newspaper article about Empire from the Sun.
Yeah.
There was a bunch for Princess Bride too. Like,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like the movie reviews section of the newspaper, and I'm like
Mhm.
looking through them. So I'm just very curious. I'm very curious how people felt when the movie was released, and then I
Mhm.
really want to know more about the kind of backstory, the behind the scenes stuff. What did that look like when Steven Spielberg was like, this was, when that idea was pitched, was it pitched for the show, or did he, write this for the show and then decided he wanted to make it a movie? Did somebody just write this story on its own, and then he was like, hey, I'm making an anthology series, this would be good. And then as he got into the anthology stuff, was like, actually, this could be a better movie. I don't know, but I would like to know more about that, because just despite all of the flaws that I feel like I'm pointing out, I'm not giving the movie enough credit for what it does well, at least
True,
not
true.
so far in the review, because there are a lot of things that it does well. The whole wonder of when stuff gets fixed is really cool in the movie. I really like
Yeah,
the way that they do that stuff. Um,
because
but
there are some practical elements in here
yeah.
that are really cool that must definitely took a lot of time to plan and figure out the
Mm-hmm.
logistics behind it,
Mm-hmm.
and they pulled it off. So yeah, again, yeah, I would love to see some like 20-minute ILM breakdown. I would
Yeah, like
love that.
one of my favorite shots was when they're trying to hook up all the extension cords and stuff
Mhm,
to feed power so that the aliens can, finally have their babies or whatever.
mhm.
And what a great way to cap it off, where, the janitor guy comes up with Christmas lights. I think that's cool, especially
Yeah,
because they're like the 1980s Christmas lights that are like the big bulbs or whatever.
right.
And it's just really cool because, yeah, it is kind of like an extension cord. It's got both ends, that you can daisy chain them together. So that's kind of cute.
Mhm.
But I really, really like the shot of when, like they're all trying to like give it the extension cord. It's not taking it. And then the janitor comes in and like this tiny little arm like reaches out and it's like, like
Right.
that's so cool. I would
Yeah.
love to see the puppetry or whatever they did behind that, because for all I know, it could very well just be like a stick that's pulling the string closer to it, but then they had to
Mhm.
still make the aliens with stop motion on a blue screen and just kind of like overlay that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I doubt they made a little puppet that actually pulled that in. That there'd be no reason for that. Even the scene where the little babies are flying around for the first time and they're knocking the bottles off the table.
Right.
Like the babies, those plates were all filmed on blue screen. That's pretty obvious. So is there a dude behind there like pulling strings just to knock the bottles over or what? Because
Yeah.
it's either timed pretty well or they recorded the stuff falling off the table first and then had to try to time it so that the stuff flying
Mhm.
around. It's
Yeah, it's
just,
kinda like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit kinda scenario where
yeah.
it's like,
Yeah,
how
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Or I know just because they filmed it on blue screen, it's kind of done like the way that Superman, all the flying shots in the original Superman films are done. They're filmed
Yeah.
on like a blue screen with some green tint or different colored tint to separate it a little bit more, and then it's kind of color washed afterwards to get it back to the original color, and then put on the plate, matted out or whatever.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Just I'm sure there was a lot of stuff that was done there that I would love to see, and I don't know where to see that. So,
I know, 'cause I was disappointed not only in the lack of behind the scenes, but also the lack of a commentary track.
mm-hmm.
'Cause I have the Blu-ray, that's how I was able to watch this, was I purchased the Blu-ray a couple weeks ago, and yeah, like, talk about bare bones. I mean, it was, yeah, very disappointing. Um,
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
I honestly wonder if the janitor, former boxer dude, if that's the only reason he is in this is to have a reason to have the babies. 'Cause he is enamored with the little baby alien spaceships immediately, and then they just kinda hang out with him. One goes in his pocket and everything. So it's like, is that really is he the plot device that makes the existence of the babies necessary just because they need somebody to take care of them and like befriend them. And is
Yeah, or I was gonna say, or vice versa, or they were like, we got to have little babies. That would be so cute. It would make it such a family movie. And then like, but what are the babies gonna do? And they're like, well, what if we have this guy that like loves the babies, and
yeah,
he like wants the babies to be with him all the time, like little pets.
mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I don't know about you, but from an audio standpoint, that scene where he gets up like the like New York Times Square or something, where he like gets up on the building and he's blowing that dog whistle. I don't know about you, but that annoyed the shit out of me because it just kept going and going and going. I'm like, bro, you need to find another way to, get this scene going, or, maybe have it be implied that you are doing this, but hearing it over and over, man, it tickled my brain in the worst way possible. I was like, this scene better end real quick. Or I'm gonna like throw something at the screen.
It's funny you say that because I thought that before he busted out the megaphone. When he stole the megaphone, because he's blowing that dog whistle, and I was like, "Oh God, I hope he stops that soon," because it already felt like it was going for too long. And then he steals the megaphone, gets up on the building, and they actually EQ'd it a little differently to try to make it seem like it was a larger sound, and then it got worse. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, please don't, please don't."
Yeah,
and it kept going. Yeah, that's a weird one. I also just not that it's related, but this makes me want to review this other movie. IMDb says that a horror film with a working title of Batteries Not Included had to change its name because of this film, and that movie turned out to be Child's Play. And I love Child's Play. I love Chucky. So I think we should do that. But that's a very, very interesting little tidbit on that.
I know. I wonder if it would have had, I honestly don't think it would have had the same longevity as it did if it were called Batteries Not Included, though. Just because like the imagery of the name Chucky and how you can have a knife embedded in that name, like, I don't know, it's a little more iconic that way. So I think that was probably a good thing in the end. Because I know Child's Play was the first one, but then weren't the subsequent ones just called, they called Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3?
Which one? There's like 9 of the movies. There's Child's Play 1, Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3. Then there's like Bride of Chucky, Spawn of Chucky, Seed of Chucky. Like they go off the
eventually
rails. There's a Chucky's TV show.
They got rid of Child's Play and just ran with Chucky. So so that was probably a smart move on their part, or they wanted to call it Batteries Not Included, but it was probably a good thing that they ended up having to go with Child's Play instead.
Yeah. See, sorry, I'm just scrolling through like the IMDb kind of trivia about this. And I didn't even catch this, and I feel like this is even something that would have filled out the movie a little bit better, because they do show the newspaper clippings of when their son Bobby, who the woman with dementia thinks that the thug guy is their son Bobby. It says, in the backstory behind the death of Bobby Riley, Frank didn't get along so well with Bobby and would frequently lose his temper with the boy. Bobby, fed up with Frank losing his temper and making him feel like he's not good enough, bought himself a car and planned to run away. But in a tragic, senseless moment, as he drove off in the new car, he crashed and was killed instantly. So like I got about 3/4 of that from the movie. Would have been way more effective, I think, actually showing the relationship between the son and the father. But again, I think that only works if there's like a allegorical story or something happening with the aliens. Maybe, I don't know. It just I didn't understand why their son dying and the woman with dementia thinking that the thug was their son in any way like added anything to the movie. Or the story, or the character development, or like, okay, so they had a son that passed away when he was 18 or so, or whenever, he decided he wanted to run away.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Like it didn't make either of his parents like especially caring or regretful or remorseful or anything like that. Just
Yeah.
okay. It's just like a character trait they have. Their son is dead. Okay.
Yeah. I also thought they could have like leaned in a little more with the fact that they ran this restaurant on
Yeah.
the bottom level. Because eventually all the construction workers that are there to build these skyscrapers right next to them go in there because they need something to eat. And it's like the neighborhood spot to go because it's so friendly and upbeat, and
Dead on,
the
man.
food is good. So like, yeah, to lean more into that along with the story, because it also seemed like the wife uh suddenly, like, because when you do something that you've done for so long and you don't really have to think about it anymore, even if you have dementia, like
you like revert back into
yeah, it didn't
routines.
seem like she had her dementia anymore because she was just doing all the things she used to do in this restaurant. It was like, that was cool to see her kind of snap and have these lucid moments like that. But again, it was just like, all right, what else? Like,
and why? Like,
yeah.
Like, no, I had actually a similar thought right in the middle when the construction workers first come in, and like they ask the dad or whatever, the older guy, they're like, "Are you guys open?" And he's like, "What do you think?" or whatever, something along those lines. And then they're all sitting in the restaurant having dinner. There's that somewhat funny scene of the little baby robot bouncing the burger off the table, or like becoming the burger and then jumping off the counter. That was cute, I guess. Whatever. Again, more filler, but it's like the one piece of filler that I thought worked or whatever. But I had a thought like then I was like, I wish that they had shown the restaurant like in its heyday before all the buildings were torn down. So like show what they're fighting for. Because it's not just the restaurant that they're fighting for. They were fighting for like the feeling of having that community, like back in the day when it was still alive and vibrant, before these corporations and mega billionaire developers. I guess if you want to try to frame that the movie is like a fight of like middle class and poor people against the rich people trying to like gentrify and take away their communities, then you have to show like what they're fighting for. You have to show it in that heyday, both from the perspective of the restaurant itself, but also I think from their family, like show the relationship with that son that they lost, show the relationship of what the mother was like before she got dementia and started losing it. Like you have to have a baseline to work off of before you can do that stuff. And that's what I mean when I say stuff like filling out the movie rather than stretching it out, because they added a bunch of stuff to the movie. It's just that the stuff that they added to the movie doesn't really expand on that central premise that would have made a great TV show episode.
Yeah. Yeah, like they kind of like what you're hoping that they did with, showing the restaurant in its heyday. They didn't hit that necessarily, but they did hint at like better times when the old man and his wife were younger, with the opening credits, because it showed a bunch of like black and white or sepia tone photos of them when they were younger, that kind of thing. But at the same time, there's no context. So it's like, okay, who are these people?
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point. I guess I take that back a little bit, because they did kind of try to show that a little bit by going through those photos, which, and initially when it was showing, I was like, this Photoshop is terrible. And then I realized that they didn't have Photoshop, that they didn't have Photoshop back in the day. So like, okay, pretty good job, guys.
Yeah.
Pretty good job. But yeah, they did kind of try to harken back to that. It's just like one of those things that is, I would have loved to have seen, if they started on the photos, for example. And again, maybe this is just like a technical thing because it was made in the late 80s, but like start off on the photos and then like go into the photos for just a second. just to show what that was like, you know, because they do call back later on in the movie when the Fix-Its fix up the restaurant again and they're dancing, you know, they put the jukebox on and they're sitting there dancing and he's spilling the sugar everywhere. Like it would have been cool to see that as like a direct comparison to what happened before. Show a scene of them dancing when they were younger, and then now, like when you're showing it later, you're seeing what the stakes are. You know, they're literally, it's not just that they live in this building and own a store, it's the memories of that building and that store that are so meaningful to them. And they did try to show that, but they showed it in like a 2 to 3 minute montage over the opening as opposed to like actually showing it.
I know, because it it makes me, it makes me wonder if it was just a budget thing, because that's how I think the movie should have started. Was, you know, don't show the montage, just show the restaurant in its heyday with the married couple, like younger, and all like so many patrons. It's just wall to wall, like they're just feeding so many people, everyone's having a good time, maybe some dancing, whatever. And then, you know, just have credits rolling, you know, coming up and down and appearing and disappearing as you're showing this scene in the restaurant, and then just cut to present day and how it's just in shambles and not really a functioning restaurant anymore. And then go into the story about how that building is being evacuated and everything. So
I do wonder that's a good point. Maybe it was like a budget thing and they couldn't, you know, maybe they had planned initially to film some of that stuff and couldn't. It just seems weird to me that, you know, like I always think about when, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent, but like when you're writing a script for a movie or a TV show or whatever the case may be, like I always wonder why certain decisions are made when you have full control over what happens as the people coming up with the story before it's ever even put to film. You literally can do whatever. So like it always reminds me of I really liked Man of Steel, the Zack Snyder Superman movie. Out of all the Superman movies, it's probably my favorite. It's not a perfect movie. Definitely has its flaws. The Pa Kent death scene, dumb. Hate it so much. But outside of that, I like I like the movie because to me it felt like something that I wanted for a very long time. As a Superman fan from a kid, I collected comic books and all that stuff as a kid. I wanted to see Superman in our world, like in the real world, and that movie is the closest we ever got to that. If you found out there was an alien living on the planet, yes, the government would get involved, the military would be after them, all that stuff, yada yada yada. And when that movie came out, I had a little bit of a paradigm shift because there was a lot of discussion about the scene at the end where Superman, spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen Man of Steel, mute it for just a couple seconds. When Superman kills Zod, I was talking with somebody about that scene, and for me, that scene was awesome. I really, really liked that because it served multiple purposes from a storytelling perspective. One, it puts Superman in a situation where he doesn't have any other choice other than to kill Zod. And two, Zack Snyder in the behind the scenes stuff in the production talks about how one of the things that he wanted to do with this movie is give Superman a reason for having the kind of the tropes or like the character traits that he has. So like, why does Superman not kill? Well, some people would be like, well, just because it's the right thing to do is not to kill or whatever. Okay, but what if you're put in a situation where literally the only way out is to kill somebody? And to me, that's a much stronger pitch, is when you're put in the situation where you have to kill somebody, then, and especially the last survivor of your own species, the only other person that you could possibly relate to in any way, you know, when you're forced to that, okay, that gives you like a reason why you would never want to kill again. And I really, really like that. And this person that I was talking to said, yeah, but the writers could have literally done whatever they wanted and didn't have to put him in that situation to begin with. They could have made that kind of like a point in a different way. It didn't have to be that. He didn't have to kill. He could have defeated Zod without killing him and still learn that lesson through a different way. And it's, although I didn't necessarily agree with that wholeheartedly, I got the point of what they were trying to say. And this feels very much the same as that. Like, whatever point they're trying to make, like, you don't have to put your characters in the situations that you put them into your movie. You have the ability to put them in whatever situation you want. So, like, if you're going to start this movie off, or if you're going to put the characters in the situation that they're fighting against this, big bad developer, billionaire, rich guy, or whatever, like, whatever you're trying to get out of the movie, like, you can put them in whatever situation you want to make that point.
Yeah.
So in that regard, I just think that what they picked to put them in, and again, like you said earlier, if they put the janitor in just to give the babies like a reason to be in the movie, then it's like,
come on, guys.
You could have done anything.
Uh-huh.
Like, you literally could have done anything, and that's what you decided to do to make what point? I guess all that to say that in films like this, if you're going to put your characters in a situation, make sure that the situation has a purpose for it. The characters have to grow from it. They have to change their mind about something. They have to make a connection that they wouldn't have otherwise made before. There has to be a reason why that you're putting them in that situation. And I feel like this movie did that a lot with no payoff.
Yeah.
Like, again, with the son, why did that lady keep confusing the thug with their son?
Right.
And even at the end, does anything else happen? He just leaves, right? He meets them at the hospital or the senior home or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he just leaves.
Because he was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
And then they don't really.
She starts crying.
Yeah. And then he's like taken aback by it and feels bad. So he just takes off. And yeah, I think that's the last again, right? We see him.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Just wait. Like, even again, if that was the point that they were trying to make, that like this person is redeemable, and the woman with dementia like needs to have these people in her life that care about her because she lost somebody that she deeply cared about. You're already in that situation. Just take it to its natural conclusion.
Yeah.
Like,
because like, they're showing that he just trying to have a redemption story by going to the hospital. But then he's like, all right, I'm here. I made my appearance. I tried. Peace.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not irredeemable, but I guess you'll never know if I am or not.
Right.
A funny thing about that guy, sorry, I'm actually going to look up his name because he did a pretty good job. Michael Carmine. When the movie first started, I legitimately thought that Michael Carmine was a young Raul Julia.
Oh, right.
So as I'm watching, I was like, "Oh, dang! Is this like early Raul Julia or whatever?" And then I was thinking about like how disappointing it was that that Raul Julia died at such a young age, and there's a bunch of other movies that he could have worked on. And I was like, you know what? I wonder if like this guy has ever stepped in as like an older, more mature, character in roles that Raul Julia potentially could have had. That he didn't get to play because he passed away. And then I looked it up, and this guy passed away when he was 30. He passed away not long after the movie was filmed. So no, he did not get to do any of that stuff. Two different guys, both died very, very, very young.
Wow. Yikes.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. Holy cow. That blew my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know if you are a fan or just aware of James Horner's scores.
Yes.
Because he did in fact score this movie. So to me, it's always a treat to hear a James Horner score because James Horner was my first introduction, or at least my first love of noticing film scores, A, and B, then having just this obsession with film scores, into, or even now, but, during high school and stuff, I had so many James Horner CDs, and
Really?
I would listen to them religiously when I was doing my homework. Um, but yeah, Willow, Legends of the Fall, Titanic, Braveheart. Like
I was just gonna say, James Horner is one of those people that I liked the music and it was recognizable to me. I didn't know it was James Horner until I probably Titanic, because I'm a big James Cameron fan. I
Mhm.
not as a person, but as a director.
Yeah,
Maybe as a person a little bit. He's got his faults, but
sure.
uh, I think I only realized that it was James Horner because of Cameron's films, because he's done a
Yep.
bunch of them kind of in a row. But it's not, like Hans Zimmer or uh, John Williams. It wasn't one of those names that I heard regularly because they had worked on all this stuff. And then
Mhm.
kind of finding out afterwards through James Cameron that, yeah, actually, he did do a lot of the scores for movies that I find very, very memorable.
Mhm.
Um, that was kind of like a revelation to me a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, it's because I can, just because I was so obsessed with him, in the 80s and 90s, I can instantly recognize if it's a James Horner score, even if I don't know that it's him.
That's pretty
Um,
cool.
but because at the same time, like, he definitely, quote unquote, steals a lot from his own scores.
Hmm.
you know,
Well, didn't I read somewhere that oh God, there's another movie that used from this film, from Batteries Not Included. They reused the score of Batteries Not Included in another movie, and I'm drawing a
oh,
blank as to
really?
what it was. Yeah, it was like wh- Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, maybe, or maybe I'm just confusing that with Innerspace because we just watched that recently.
No, that
I,
might be true because like, James Horner, if there's ever like a scene where mischief and mayhem is happening, he basically just takes the same sheet music and is like,
it's
just play
mayhem time.
this. Yeah, just play this. And because yeah, I recognize that motif in this one when the little babies are making, causing mischief and mayhem.
Okay.
There's a crazy scene in Project X with Matthew Broderick and monkeys. The monkeys are going haywire. Same theme.
That's funny.
And again, in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, there's definitely a scene like that, and it's basically, yeah, almost beat for beat the same music.
That's
So
funny. Yeah, I'm looking through his IMDb now. He's done a lot of movies that I've seen, a ton of
yes,
movies. I'm like very, very, very impressive. American Tail. He did the American Tail.
that's what started it for me. Is the solo violin motif in American Tail. Like, I was like 5 years old, and I was like, oh,
Oh my God, he worked
what
on
is this
Child's Play
violin motif?
too. He
What
did
do
the
you do?
universe. He did the custom at the beginning of Child's Play 2. They have like one of those custom. You know how they show like the Universal logo, and
Oh,
sometimes in
yeah,
movies they'll like change it
yeah.
slightly. So actually, I just watched or started Lee Cronin's The Mummy, and
Hmm.
they have like a really cool. It's like the New Line Cinema logo or something, and then like it like warps and distorts. Well, apparently they did that in Child's Play 2, and James Horner did that. He composed that distorted version
Ah,
of the theme.
hey, hey.
Field of Dreams, Land Before Time,
That one slaps.
Young Guns, Will. Yeah, okay. American Tail. He's done a ton of them. A ton of movies that I've seen.
Yeah.
A lot of conducting more so than just the actual musical score.
Yeah, because you don't find that a lot, especially nowadays. Like Hans Zimmer, he doesn't conduct. Hans Zimmer just writes it, and then
Yeah.
he has an actual conductor conduct the orchestra when they actually, record the actual orchestra doing it. So
So
yeah,
did James Horner write any of this stuff, or he's just the composer on all, or the conductor on all of it?
no, he composes. he does it all.
Really, most of these just say he's the conductor and uncredited at that. Willow, music producer, conductor, uncredited. Batteries not included, conductor, uncredited. Project X, conductor, uncredited.
Oh. Well, because I have the Willow soundtrack, and I'm pretty sure it says composed by James Horner.
Yeah, okay, hold on. It's just IMDb the way it's laid out. Why wouldn't you
Yeah.
put his composing credits first? So silly. Okay. Yes, he's the composer on a ton of these.
Okay. I was gonna say, wait a minute. What are you saying?
And more so the composer on many more movies than our Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Okay, yeah. So he did Honey. It's got to be Honey, I Shrunk the Kids because that's the only one on the list that I would recognize that from.
Yeah. Yeah,
Awesome.
because there's several times while I was watching Batteries Not Included, I was like, oh yeah, that little part is in Willow. Oh, that little part is in Titanic.
It's interesting to me too that I'm looking at the Batteries Not Included page. It has a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb, and that's higher than either of our ratings.
Yeah,
so
true.
It's interesting to me that the general consensus is close to where we were, but slightly more favorable.
I will say another positive thing about Batteries Not Included on a technical standpoint is I was really impressed because it's not, I don't think it's going to get a 4K release. I don't think it was that popular or well loved as Innerspace, for example. But the standard HD Blu-ray, it looked really good. Like some of the shots, especially like the well lit shots, like in the restaurant. I mean, man, it looked fantastic. It was very high quality. So
well, I guess because I was gonna say I don't have anything to compare it to, and then this was really, I would genuinely say, probably my first time seeing this. I know I saw this movie as a kid, but we didn't watch it like regularly. It wasn't, it wasn't something we would run on repeat or anything like that. So this is really my first objective viewing of this movie. And yeah, I thought it looked really good for a movie from 1987.
Yeah. Yeah. I was really impressed. Cause like it wasn't all that grainy, but it still had that film look. And yeah, it was.
Yeah. Honestly, most of my issues, I think, with this movie are the plot.
Yeah.
I honestly think that it just stems from that, because everything else, like production wise, and the amount of effort that's put into putting whatever they had in the story on the screen is actually really, really good. Again, the fix-its were awesome. I loved all the scenes with the fix-its. I thought that was just super cool, and I could totally see that being modernized and done really, really well. But the plot, like I'm looking at the cast list right now just to see if there's any other actors or people that I recognize from there. And it's like the guy that played Kovacs and the guy that I don't even know his name, but he sets up the fire in the building or whatever before.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, why did they need 3 unnamed bad guys to like move that plot point along? And then there's some contention with Lacey, the CEO of the big bad company, and all that stuff. Like,
right.
That was very, very odd.
Oh, and Wendy Shaw makes an appearance again. She was the girlfriend that left the artist
at the
guy.
beginning of the movie.
Yeah. When I saw her, I was like, hey, we just saw her in Innerspace.
Yep.
Yeah. So
mostly just to be the girlfriend of the struggling artist guy.
Right. So that's definitely because of, probably Steven Spielberg or Kathleen Kennedy being behind it. They're like, yeah, just throw Wendy Shaw in there. We just need somebody to do one scene real quick.
Yeah, I think the funny thing about this movie is the more I think about it, it's like a movie that it's kind of a feel-good movie. It's probably one of those that is like perfect for nowadays where people are on their phones. You don't really have to pay too much attention to what's going on too closely. Like, this would make a really good Netflix kind of movie that you just put on and, you're almost like passively watching, because there's nothing crazy about it. It does, it's cute, it's cutesy. There's not much depth to it. There's not much whatever. It's kind of like an escapism type thing.
Yeah. Again, Steven Spielberg produced this because he saw the light that 30 years from then people are going to be talking about it on podcasts. And
he also predicted
foresaw,
AI.
He also predicted, the second screen effect where people are watching stuff while scrolling on their phone simultaneously.
He predicted that AI was going to fix all of our problems, and just we wouldn't know how it happened. We would just see the end result. So
yeah, holy cow. Steven Spielberg, my goodness.
That's funny. All right. I want to throw this out to the people in the chat and anybody who watches this after the fact. If you want to put down a comment, are there any other movies like this that are kind of feel-good movies that you feel like did what Batteries Not Included was trying to do, but that did it better and actually succeeded? I'm talking about I guess you could put mainstream movies, but I want a movie that I've never seen before, kind of like Batteries Not Included. But I want to see a movie that nailed the execution.
Right.
So if you guys have any suggestions for stuff to watch that's related to Batteries Not Included or kind of similar, I would love to see that, because I really wanted this movie to be stronger than it ended up being.
Yeah.
And luckily it wasn't like Ninja Turtles where I had vivid memories of it as a kid. So hi, Craig.
Right.
I don't have vivid memories of this as a kid, so it wasn't quite as crushing to me as Ninja Turtles was.
Right.
Yeah. The main cast did a great job, though, as far as acting.
Yeah.
I didn't think anything there was too terrible.
I mean, even though the whole plot device of having the wife have dementia just didn't stick the landing in the end, or just seemed a little, out of left field as the movie continued. But what a performance. Mm-hmm. I mean, just especially when she was mistaking that thug landlord for her son,
Carlos,
or getting angry at her husband about, that's why so their son, felt like he needed to leave and take off because you always mean to him and you never give him a chance, whatever. Yeah, the performances were great. Aside from some of the other characters who just didn't really have much going on anyway, so they didn't really have to act much.
Yeah, but honestly, I think that the acting would have been fine. Just the plot didn't really give them much to work with.
Yeah,
the story didn't give them much to work with. The dialogue didn't give them much to work with. So I can't fault the actors for something else that is clearly pervasive throughout the whole movie.
Yeah. If it were done again today, again, just as a family friendly, feel good Netflix kind of thing, I don't know, like, gosh, who could pull something like this off? I mean, Steven Spielberg could pull it off, but he's got bigger and better things to do, especially with where his career has taken him. But I don't know. I was thinking about, like, what kind of director would do something like this, or maybe even a studio. Because I was thinking maybe A24, because they tend to do lower budget stuff, but they always kind of do lower budget horror or just stuff that's kind of got a weird angle to it or weird vibe.
I hate to say this. I really hate to say this, because I don't like them as a studio, and most of their movies are schlock. But they're getting into slightly, like, the output that they're putting out is a little bit better than normal. This to me seems like a family friendly movie that a studio like Angel Films would put out.
Oh, what do they do?
Terrible stuff. It's all that, like, God is not dead, and like it's all very religious focused movies.
Okay, yeah,
and yeah, except now they're finally, like, starting to try to peek out from behind the religious stuff.
Mm.
From what I read, they haven't been doing as well with that content anymore. Like people just aren't seeing it as much, or they're not making as much movie money off of it. So
Yeah.
like they Andy Serkis has that Animal Farm movie, I think. Is it Animal Farm? I think that's an Angel Studios movie.
Oh, it is. Okay.
I gotta look up some of these recent ones.
Is that the is that the one with the sheep? No.
Yeah, okay. So watch. I'm just gonna read through the list because this is a terrible, terrible list of movies. His Only Son, Sound of Freedom, which was garbage. Garbage.
You've actually seen it? Sound of Freedom?
Yes, garbage. Like it.
How old is that movie?
It's from 2023. It's about the whole human trafficking thing. Jim Caviezel is like an FBI agent or something like that. I'm trying to block it out of my mind.
Well, hold on. Before we move past this, why did you see it?
Mostly because a family member heard that it was good and wanted to watch it, and so we watched it together. Spoiler alert, it was not. Animal Farm, that's the one.
Yeah.
Animal Farm and David. Those were the two that were released within the last couple months. I guess David is a religious theme.
David and Goliath, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, is it?
I mean, why else would you call a movie just David?
Yes, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I always forget that the David that killed Goliath is also King David from later on in the Bible verse. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Solo Mio, that's the one that we saw recently. Solo Mio with Kevin James.
Oh yeah.
Not a great movie, but it wasn't terrible, and it's kind of like a sweet, innocent movie, like not based on religion really at all. It's just kind of like a mild, unoffensive movie, I guess. And this, like a remake of this, kind of seems, like it would be fitting for that. Although the fact that there's aliens in it, maybe they wouldn't do something like that. I don't know.
Plus there would definitely have to be a CGI angle.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they really do much in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, the only studio that I can think of is Disney. Like Disney does all the family movies nowadays, and anybody that's not Disney has pretty much bought up. So it's kind of like
I could see, now that he's mentioned that, I could see Disney redoing this, just like a total remake, not a reboot, because there's not really much to reboot. But yeah, a remake, and then hiring some kind of up and coming director that maybe we don't know all that well yet.
I could even see, like, it's interesting to me because Brad Bird wrote the screenplay, part of the screenplay for this.
I saw his name.
So I could even see this as like a Pixar, Disney animation, Disney, type of movie. He wrote, what was it, the Iron Giant or whatever?
Yes.
Is that the one they hear? So, like I could see it as an animated movie too.
Yeah.
He could probably do it some justice. Yeah, Iron Giant. Yeah. And all the other, Pixar. He's done a ton of Pixar stuff. So,
yes,
it could be a Pixar movie. It just, again, it's very unoffensive. It's kind of feel good. There's some cutesy stuff in it that I really liked. It's just they need to meet it up a little. They need to make it meaningful and have the reason that the aliens are here either be something that is, like it would have been cool if the humans had helped the aliens in the same way that the aliens were helping the humans.
Yes.
The aliens have a problem, and that's the reason why they're here on Earth, and they happen to have this special skill that lets them fix things or whatever. That could have been something. There could have been more to it, and there just wasn't.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
It's not like it's a bad movie. It's just not a great movie.
Yeah. It's kind of disappointing.
I'll take disappointing though. I'll take disappointing over bad because again, it's not like I didn't enjoy it. I had a fine time.
Yeah.
I felt good after watching it. I didn't feel like I wasted my time watching it. It just didn't hit. It didn't nail the landing. It didn't hit the mark. It could have been something more. And
Yeah.
when you compare it against that, nothing stands up. So
Because I feel like the 80s was kind of chock full of films like this, where it kind of suffers from who is this for?
yeah,
Because it just seemed like in the 80s they did take a lot of big swings as far as what actually got greenlit and made it to theaters. Because I feel like this kind of fell down the same path as Labyrinth, where it's like it's not really a kids movie, but I don't think adults are really going to be that into it either. So it just kind of remains stagnant in this kind of limbo stage.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, and
yeah,
it does feel like a Steven Spielberg movie. Like Steven Spielberg to me has
yeah,
a tendency of like trying to force familyness into movies that aren't necessarily like well suited for that as a concept.
yeah,
So he tries to take like strong concepts and strong familial relationships and kind of blend them together. And it's been successful
yeah,
in several different movies in several different ways. It's just not always successful.
yeah.
Oh wow, it has been that long. Yeah, Amazing Stories. He did a reboot in 2020.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, and I
Like,
remember it coming out on Apple TV Plus or whatever at the time. We didn't see any of them. I wonder if they redid Batteries Not Included as part of that at all.
oh wow, maybe.
I don't think so. None of these descriptions on
I
IMDb.
honestly wonder, like, since it was in 2020, I honestly wonder if that had been like already made for like years, and then they just needed content because it was 2020 and nobody could make anything because of the
Maybe.
pandemic. And they're like, "Hey, what do you got, Steven?" He's like,
Maybe.
"Oh, I've got this Amazing Stories thing. Let's just put it on your platform."
Yeah,
Great.
I mean, it looks like there was only like 5 episodes.
Mhm.
So it didn't even get like a full season release.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet that's what happened. They're just like, "We need anything. Just reach out to every production studio house you know."
Good Lord, Steven Spielberg has produced a ton of movies.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Tummy Trouble? What? Oh, it's a short. Okay. It's a Looney Tunes short. I was like,
Oh,
Steven
yeah.
Spielberg produced a movie called Tummy Trouble?
I mean, the fact that in the 90s, he even produced Tiny Toons and
Mm-hmm.
Animaniacs, you know?
Oh, Harry and the Hendersons. That's
He
another
produced
good
that
one.
too?
Yeah. Uncredited, but he was an executive producer on it.
I'm actually getting that fairly soon. I pre-ordered that on Kino Lorber.
Whoa.
Because that is a family favorite.
Oh,
We
yeah.
we watched that a lot growing up.
I can't wait to get I just put in a big order on Groove. They had their 24-hour sale that I
Yeah.
did not miss this time. And I got a
Yes.
bunch of stuff that I have been waiting for. So
Yay! Groove.com, people.
I don't think I have anything else I need to say about Batteries Not Included, though.
Yeah, me neither.
Unless somebody else wants to talk about something more.
I've already said my piece about the few silver linings it has.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, thanks, peeps. Once again, hiddenmovieclub.substack.com to join our free newsletter that comes out every week.
And sign
Next,
up as a paid member and get in on our giveaways. We give away a movie every single time we do an After the Credits episode. So if you would like to win a free copy of the movie we watched or one of the other movies we've covered, that is your chance to get it for only $5.
$5 a month. And you know, I've been meaning to put more like exclusive content on there for the $5 tier. So I apologize for not doing that, or, you know, keeping up with that on a regular basis, but I will try and do better because we do currently have 2 videos so far that are exclusive to the $5 tier that you can't get anywhere else, not even on YouTube. So yeah, check those out if you join the $5 tier. And also, yeah, you are eligible to get one of the giveaways every 2 weeks when you do After the Credits. Yeah, buddy. So
yeah, boy.
join, baby.
And
we
if there's
also
any other
have
movies you want us to cover, we're doing Legally Blonde next week for After the Credits, correct?
Correct. It did show on Sunday. We saw it on Sunday. Actually, my whole family and we saw it on Sunday. It is also playing tomorrow in select theaters as well. So, yeah, get ready for that. Yeah, I've got some things to say about it. It was pretty fun watching it with my whole family. It was cool. Have you seen it already?
I've seen Legally Blonde several times, but my wife and I are going to watch it again. That is one of those movies that we watch all the time.
Yeah.
At least once every couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy that movie for what it was and what it is. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
So tune in next Tuesday when we and Brad will talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we haven't chosen a movie for our next double take. So if you have suggestions, ideally movies that are either related via cast, crew, or theme to one of the movies we've covered, like Legally Blonde or last week's movie. Why am
Innerspace.
Innerspace, good Lord. I've been talking about it this whole time, and I drew a blank in the title, like right when I needed it. But if it's related to Innerspace or Batteries Not Included or Legally Blonde, then let us know, and we'll try to watch it. Preferably something we've never seen before. Those have been my favorite so far that we've covered. Are the movies that I haven't seen because I'm kind of expanding my cinematic outlook. And then, as always, physical media for life. If you can, buy the movies that you love so that you have them forever. Go to see them in the theaters with friends and support the people that make these wonderful, wonderful movies so that they can continue making them. And, just we don't want to lose this as an art form. I know AI is going to be taking everything over soon, but people making cool stuff is still my favorite. So
can't be beat. All right. See you next time.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Elin, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you next week.
Yay. Bye, everyone.
Everybody. Have a great week.